The center court crowd had just witnessed something extraordinary. A 21-year-old from the Philippines had dethroned the defending Wimbledon champion. But what happened next was even more powerful. Alexandra Eala, still catching her breath after converting match point, stood in the middle of the most famous tennis arena in the world, microphone in hand, and let the floodgates open. She tried to speak, but the tears wouldn't wait. They streamed down her face as the weight of a lifetime of sacrifice, of dreams whispered on Philippine clay, came crashing down all at once. This wasn't just a post-match interview. This was a moment of pure, unfiltered humanity, a young woman confronting the magnitude of what she had just achieved. "I don't know how to describe it," she stammered, her voice cracking. And as she spoke, the entire tennis world fell silent. Because what Eala said next wasn't about rankings, statistics, or prize money. It was about a little girl with ruffled socks and chubby cheeks who had dared to dream bigger than her circumstances. Tears of joy flooded the center court. The bombshell wasn't the victory, it was the beautiful, emotional confession that followed. As the adrenaline of the victory began to subside, Eala found herself standing on the court she had worshipped from afar. She had dreamed of center court, and now she was living the dream. The interviewer asked the obvious question: what did this historic moment mean to her? And then, the world watched as Eala, the history maker, who had just sent the defending champion packing, became visibly emotional. Maybe for someone like Eala, who has won so many slams, or maybe someone like Serena or Venus, this achievement may seem small, she said, her voice trembling. The tears began to fall. But for someone who grew up in the Philippines. She paused, the emotion overwhelming her. She took a moment to compose herself before revealing the image that has since gone viral. A little girl, her younger self, who trained every day after school with her brother and her grandfather. "With my ruffled socks," she recalled, "my light-up shoes, and chubby cheeks." She looked into the camera and dedicated the victory to that child. To her, this is everything. The crowd erupted. The tears of joy were no longer just hers, they belonged to everyone who had ever been told their dreams were too big, but the emotion ran deeper than just a nostalgic memory. Eala revealed the deep cultural meaning behind the symbols she carries with her on court, symbols that had been noticed by fans, but not fully understood. On her visor, woven in her native Tagalog, was a powerful phrase, "Kapag lumago, hindi na hihinto." She translated it for the world: once it grows, it cannot be stopped, or simply, it's unstoppable. This was more than a slogan. It was her creed, the mantra she lived by. "I think it's so sentimental to be able to wear things, or to carry parts of my culture with me on court," she explained. "Of course it's a huge reason as to who I am. Where I come from is a big part of who I am and a big part of who I want to become in the future." She also spoke about the sampaguita flower she had worn last year, the national flower of the Philippines. For Eala, representing her country on the biggest stages in the world means everything. The tears weren't just about winning, they were about the validation of a culture, a nation, and a little girl who refused to stop dreaming. As the emotional interview continued, Eala addressed something that few athletes are willing to talk about so openly: the weight of carrying an entire nation's hopes. The Philippines, a country of over 115 million people, has found a new hero in Eala. She is the first player from her country to reach the second week of a Grand Slam. But with that historic achievement comes immense pressure. "It's an amazing thing for me to be able to do that for my country," she admitted. "But I guess it's also very emotional every time I'm able to pass a new step, or break new ground, just because it's also personal goals and personal achievements." The tears that flowed were a testament to the years of hard work, the sacrifices, and the relentless determination that had brought her here. "This is my journey," she said. "I'm happy to be able to share it with everyone who wants to take part." She explained that the pressure is manageable because her story is genuine. "I'm not trying to be anyone who I'm not. I'm not trying to stray from my values," she said. The tennis world saw a champion, the Philippines saw a daughter, who had just made their entire nation proud. Just as the tears seemed to be subsiding, Eala delivered a line that silenced the crowd and sent chills down the spines of her future opponents. "Obviously, because I'm emotional does not mean I'm satisfied," she declared. The contrast was jarring. Seconds ago, she was crying about her childhood, and now she was staring down the rest of the tournament with the fire of a champion. "So, okay, next round. Let's go," she added, her voice shifting from emotional to fierce. The transition was so powerful that it became one of the most quoted lines from her interview. A tennis fan on social media captured it perfectly. "Just because I'm emotional does not mean I'm satisfied." Love that line from Alex. What a win. Even Swiatek's fans were won over by Eala's authenticity, with one writing, "I'm not even mad. I'm just sad. Devastated, really." Iga fought hard in the first set, but couldn't maintain that level. Alex was simply the better player today. Well deserved. Laban. The tears of joy had transformed into a battle cry. Alex Eala wasn't done yet. The most poignant moment of the interview came when Eala looked up at the Philippine flags waving in the center court crowd. The Filipino community in London had shown up in full force, and their presence was not lost on their heroine. "It's incredible to have my countrymen cheering me on, and knowing that, we are all in this together," she said. She dedicated the victory to them, to her family, and to every child who shares her story. "This goes out to them. This goes out to my family. This goes out to all of the little girls who had ruffled socks and chubby cheeks. It means the world," she concluded. The tears returned, but this time they were tears of gratitude. In that moment, Alex Eala was no longer just a tennis player. She was an inspiration, a symbol of hope for millions. The tennis world didn't just see an upset. They saw a beautiful, emotional human moment that transcended the sport itself. As Eala walked off center court, the crowd remained standing. The tears of joy had dried, but the impact of her words would linger forever. This was the interview that broke the internet.